It was a calm day on Earth, nothing unusual. People were going about their daily lives, unaware of the storm that was about to hit them. But in the distant reaches of space, something was stirring. Something ancient. Something far beyond human understanding. In the year 2032, a strange signal came from deep space. It wasn't a regular transmission or a simple radio wave. This signal was unlike anything humans had ever encountered before. It was a series of complex, mathematical patterns, so intricate that it seemed almost alive. At first, the experts thought it was a cosmic anomaly. A glitch in the universe, perhaps. But as the days passed, they realized it was more than just a random signal. It was deliberate. Something was trying to reach them. Humanity's best scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to decode the message. After months of studying the patterns, they discovered something shocking. The signal was not just a message. It was a map, a set of coordinates. And those coordinates led directly to Earth. The world held its breath. Who or what was trying to contact us? The first alien ship arrived on Earth's doorstep in the summer of 2033. It was a massive, sleek craft that seemed to shimmer and bend light around it. No sound, no explosion, just the silent presence of something that was far beyond anything Earth had ever seen. The aliens called themselves the Zarvok. Their appearance was nothing like the typical images of aliens people had seen in movies. They were tall and gaunt, with smooth silver skin and large, black eyes that seemed to absorb the very light around them. Their language was a strange mixture of clicks and hums, which human translators struggled to understand. Despite their eerie appearance, the Zarvok were calm. They didn't come in ships filled with weapons or demand anything from humanity. Instead, they claimed to be peaceful explorers. They said they had been watching Earth for centuries, fascinated by the planet's progress. They wanted to share knowledge and help humanity evolve into something greater. The world was torn. Some welcomed them with open arms, hoping for a technological revolution. Others were suspicious. The idea of aliens had always been a source of fear, and many believed that these creatures might have more sinister intentions. But the Zarvok were clever. They didn't rush things. They took their time, gaining the trust of world leaders. They showed humans strange, advanced technologies, devices that could heal the sick, fix the environment, and even offer glimpses into the future. It was like they were giving humans a taste of what they could become. A perfect trap hidden behind a mask of benevolence. They told humanity that they were not the first species to reach out to the Zarvok. They claimed to be part of an ancient intergalactic network, a group of civilizations that had existed for millennia. They had come to offer humanity a place in this grand network. They spoke of peace, prosperity, and endless knowledge. And for a while, everything seemed perfect. But there was something off about it all. There was a strange feeling in the air, something that couldn't be put into words. People began to notice subtle changes. Technology began advancing at an alarming rate, but so did the problems. Climate change seemed to slow down, but new diseases spread faster than ever. Natural disasters hit harder, and while the Zarvok offered solutions, their promises always seemed just out of reach. As more time passed, a few scientists began to ask questions. Why were the Zarvok so interested in Earth? Why were they so eager to help? Why did they seem to be guiding humanity's progress, but never quite allowing it to move forward on its own? In secret, these scientists formed a small group, determined to uncover the truth. They studied the alien technology, looking for any signs of hidden motives. What they discovered was far darker than anyone could have imagined. The Zarvok hadn't come to Earth just to help humanity evolve. They had come to test us. Earth was not just a planet. It was a giant intergalactic experiment. The Zarvok had been manipulating Earth's history from the shadows, guiding the human race through a series of challenges designed to push humanity to the brink. Everything was a test. The wars, the famines, the scientific breakthroughs, the disasters. All of it was part of the Zarvok's grand design. The scientists were horrified. They realized that the alien technology wasn't just advanced, it was controlling. The Zarvok were not just offering knowledge. They were subtly guiding humanity down a path, forcing humans to rely on them. Every major decision, every pivotal moment in history, seemed to have been subtly influenced by the Zarvok. The more they learned, the more they understood. This was no accident. This was a trap. The Zarvok had designed Earth's entire history as a kind of training ground. They had given humanity just enough freedom to grow, but never enough to fully escape their control. They had pushed humanity to evolve, but only in ways that suited their plan. And they were watching. The humans who had begun to piece together the truth knew that they had to act fast. But the problem was, they weren't sure if anyone would believe them. The Zarvok had already woven themselves into the fabric of society. They had become an integral part of the world's governments, its leaders, and its technological systems. How could one small group of scientists, no matter how brilliant, fight back against a force so vast? The trap had been set. The Zarvok had thought they were the masters of Earth's fate. They believed that humanity would either break under pressure or fall into their hands. But what they didn't know was that humanity had something they didn't expect. A mind that refused to give up, and a spirit that could not be broken. And so the real battle for Earth was about to begin. As humanity began to recover from the initial shock of the Zarvok's arrival, something strange started happening. At first, it was subtle, a small, almost imperceptible shift in the air. But over time, people began to notice that things were not as they seemed. Global events, technological breakthroughs, and even natural disasters began to feel coordinated. It was as if the world was moving according to an invisible pattern, one that no one could fully understand. What was once seen as random chaos now appeared to have an underlying design. A small group of scientists and independent thinkers, led by Dr. Elena Voss, began to piece the puzzle together. They weren't fooled by the Zarvok's kind words and advanced technology. They couldn't shake the feeling that there was something darker beneath the surface. The group spent months analyzing the strange alien devices and the increasingly bizarre events around the globe. As they dug deeper, a chilling realization began to form. The Zarvok were not just visitors, they were manipulators. Their technology, far from being a gift, was subtly controlling the world, pushing humanity in ways that made it easier for them to take control. The diseases, the natural disasters, the sudden advancements, they were all part of a well-designed trap. It became clear that the Zarvok weren't just trying to guide humanity, they were shaping it. Earth wasn't a random planet in the galaxy. It was a carefully constructed experiment, one in which humanity was the subject. The Zarvok had been manipulating history from the very beginning. Every war, every famine, every breakthrough in science. These events were not just accidents. They were steps in a grand plan designed to test the human race. The more the group uncovered, the more disturbing the truth became. It wasn't just the past that had been manipulated, but the future too. The Zarvok were orchestrating humanity's evolution, pushing them toward a final, inevitable moment when the trap would snap shut. But Dr. Voss and her team weren't the only ones who noticed the odd patterns. As the world began to change, people everywhere started asking questions. Why did everything seem to fall into place so perfectly? Why were the Zarvok offering solutions to every problem, only to present new challenges right behind them? Why did their technology seem to solve problems, but also create new ones? It didn't take long for whispers of doubt to spread, especially among those who weren't as enchanted by the aliens' promises of peace and prosperity. It was during this time that the first real act of rebellion occurred. A group of hackers working in secret uncovered a strange piece of alien code embedded in Earth's global systems. This code was not just a backdoor into the Zarvok's technology, it was the key to understanding their true intentions. The hackers realized that the Zarvok had implanted a kind of control network into Earth's infrastructure. It wasn't just the aliens who were watching, they were influencing everything. From the flow of information to the direction of human innovation, the Zarvok were pulling the strings behind the scenes. The hackers were the first to expose the truth to the world, and the response was immediate. People were shocked, confused, and in some cases, furious. How could this happen? How could humanity have been so blind to what was happening? But the Zarvok were already prepared. They quickly launched a global campaign to dismiss the hackers' claims as conspiracy theories. They used their vast resources to discredit anyone who spoke out, and many of the world's leaders, who were already deeply entwined with the Zarvok, rallied behind them. The global masses, who had once welcomed the aliens as saviors, now found themselves caught in a web of confusion and disbelief. Dr. Voss and her team, however, refused to back down. They continued to investigate, using every tool at their disposal. It was during one of these covert operations that they stumbled upon something truly horrifying. Hidden deep within the alien technology was a fail-safe, a final part of the trap that would activate once humanity had reached a certain threshold. The Zarvok had planned to slowly push humanity to the brink of destruction, forcing them to either accept their control or perish. The plan was so intricate, so carefully designed, that it seemed impossible to stop. The aliens had calculated every possibility, every move that humanity could make, and had prepared countermeasures for each one. But there was something the Zarvok hadn't counted on: humanity's ability to adapt. Dr. Voss and her team realized that the more the aliens tried to control them, the more humanity would find ways to break free. It wasn't just that humans were resourceful, it was that their unpredictability, their sheer will to survive, was something the Zarvok couldn't foresee. The trap had been set, but it wasn't as foolproof as they thought. Still, time was running out. The Zarvok knew that once humanity discovered the truth, their experiment would be over. They couldn't let the resistance grow any stronger, but the humans weren't going to sit idly by. They knew they had to act, but the question was, how? How could they fight an enemy that controlled the very technology they relied on? As the world teetered on the edge of collapse, one thing was clear: the battle for humanity's future had just begun. The Zarvok thought they had us, but they were about to learn that humanity could not be so easily manipulated. The trap was only the beginning. Now humanity was going to fight back, and they would stop at nothing to turn the tables. Humanity's growing realization that they were being controlled by the Zarvok had sent shockwaves through the world. The revelation was both terrifying and empowering. As Dr. Alina Voss and her team pieced together more of the alien plot, they discovered something that would change everything. The Zarvok were not invincible. Their perfect trap had one fatal flaw. The first breakthrough came when a young hacker, Marcus, found a glitch in the alien network, a seemingly insignificant flaw hidden deep in the coding of one of the Zarvok's most advanced systems. To most, it would have been dismissed as a minor error, but to Marcus, it was a clue. This glitch allowed a small crack in the Zarvok's control network, a tiny opening that humans could exploit. The glitch wasn't just a flaw, it was the beginning of their way out. For the first time, humans had a weapon they could use against their alien oppressors. The team worked tirelessly, diving deeper into the alien technology. Marcus and Dr. Voss realized that, despite the Zarvok's sophisticated manipulation, their systems were still bound by one simple rule. They relied too heavily on their technology. This was the Zarvok's weakness. They assumed that the human race would be dependent on their tech, but humanity's creativity and adaptability had always been its greatest strength. With a few modifications to the alien systems, the group could hack into the very framework that the Zarvok used to control Earth's infrastructure. The team's first major mission was to infiltrate a high-security Zarvok facility in the heart of the largest city on Earth, where their central control hub for human communications and technology was located. It was a dangerous mission, one that no one had ever attempted before, but it was their only chance. Armed with their knowledge of alien technology, the team snuck past the advanced security systems that had once seemed impenetrable to any human. As they hacked into the facility, they discovered a hidden network of surveillance, devices that tracked every movement, every decision humanity made. These were not just watching them, they were guiding them. The more they hacked, the more they uncovered. The Zarvok had been manipulating everything, from the media to the global economy. They had designed a system so sophisticated that it would lead humanity toward their own downfall without even realizing it. But with every piece of code they cracked, with every device they disabled, the team grew closer to the truth. Then they found it, the key to reversing the trap. It was a software protocol buried deep inside the alien systems, something the Zarvok had never expected humanity to find. This protocol was the foundation of the entire trap. It was the mechanism that allowed the Zarvok to manipulate human decisions, to guide society toward a predetermined outcome. But the protocol also had one weakness. It could be reversed. The team quickly realized that by altering the code, they could not only disable the alien systems, but also turn the technology against the Zarvok. This was humanity's opportunity to strike back. However, the aliens were no fools. The moment the team discovered the protocol, the Zarvok knew they had been compromised. In a desperate move, they activated a failsafe, one that would trigger a global disaster, wiping out key cities and destabilizing the world. The Earth would be thrown into chaos, making it impossible for the human resistance to organize. But Dr. Voss and her team were ready. They had anticipated the Zarvok's move and quickly began developing their own countermeasures. They used the alien technology they had hijacked to create new weapons, devices that could protect Earth's most important cities from the impending alien attack. As the countdown to disaster began, the resistance worked around the clock, setting up shields and defenses in key locations. In a daring move, the team initiated the reversal of the protocol at the exact moment the Zarvok launched their counterattack. The result was nothing short of extraordinary. As the alien systems began to destabilize, the global disaster was averted, and humanity's technology systems began to respond in unexpected ways. The alien satellites that once controlled the planet's communications now acted as a shield, blocking the Zarvok's communication with their forces. The alien ships, once in perfect synchronization with their network, now faltered, their systems malfunctioning under the sudden change. It was humanity's first victory. But as the dust settled, Dr. Voss knew that this was only the beginning. The Zarvok would not give up so easily. Their technology was advanced, and their resources were limitless. The human resistance had just struck the first blow in what would be a long and brutal war. The aliens would retaliate, and this time they would come prepared. Yet there was something the Zarvok hadn't anticipated: humanity's will to survive. The very thing the Zarvok had underestimated from the start. With the alien systems disabled, Dr. Voss and her team began to rally more people to the cause. As the global resistance grew, more and more individuals and nations joined the fight. Ordinary people, once ignorant of the alien manipulation, now became the most powerful weapon humanity had. Scientists, hackers, soldiers, and civilians alike all came together to take on their alien oppressors. The trap had been set for humanity, but now it was the Zarvok who found themselves trapped by the very systems they had created. It was clear now, humanity would not fall without a fight. The tables had begun to turn, and the war for Earth's future was just beginning. As the weeks passed, the battle between humanity and the Zarvok intensified. The victory that the Resistance had achieved by reversing the aliens' control systems was only the beginning of what would become a fierce and unrelenting war. The Zarvok, despite their advanced technology and seemingly perfect plan, were now facing an enemy they had underestimated: humanity's unwavering determination. The aliens had thought they had us cornered, but they had made one fatal mistake. They never anticipated how quickly humanity could adapt and fight back. The Zarvok retaliated swiftly. They launched devastating counterattacks, hitting key resistance strongholds and wiping out many of the human forces that had celebrated their brief victory. It seemed like humanity's hope was flickering. Cities were destroyed in a matter of hours, and entire regions were plunged into darkness. Alien ships, now fully armed and more dangerous than ever, launched a full-scale assault on Earth's remaining defenses. The Zarvok had not expected this level of resilience. They thought the resistance would crumble under pressure, but humanity was relentless. With each new assault, the human spirit grew stronger. The once fragmented resistance now began to unite on a global scale, pooling their resources and knowledge. They realized that in order to fight back against the Zarvok, they had to think differently. The alien technology, while advanced, was not invincible. The key to defeating the Zarvok was not brute force, it was to outsmart them. The turning point came when the human scientists, working closely with the Resistance, uncovered another startling truth. The Zarvok had underestimated humanity's ability to reverse engineer their technology. Every time the aliens struck, humanity learned something new. Each battle gave the Resistance valuable insights into the alien technology. The humans began to harness their own version of the Zarvok's advanced weapons, creating new defense systems and countermeasures that the aliens had not seen coming. It was during one of the largest assaults on Earth's northern cities that the breakthrough finally came. Dr. Voss and her team, working from a hidden underground facility, developed a new weapon, an energy pulse generator that could disrupt the Zarvok's advanced energy shields. It was risky, and its success was not guaranteed, but it was humanity's best shot at turning the tide of the war. They knew that if they could destroy the alien shields, they would finally be able to bring down the alien ships that had been wreaking havoc across Earth. The Resistance set up an ambush in a remote valley, hoping to lure the Zarvok into range of the energy pulse weapon. The plan was dangerous, and the team knew they were walking into a trap of their own. The aliens had been watching them closely, learning from their every move. But for the humans, there was no other option. It was now or never. As the Zarvok ships approached, the tension in the air was palpable. The ground shook as the alien forces descended from the skies, their ships blocking out the sun. The pulse generator was primed, the Resistance ready to make their move. They waited, holding their breath. The Zarvok ships moved closer, their weapons aimed at the human positions. At the last possible moment, the pulse weapon activated. A massive burst of energy shot out from the generator, hitting the first of the alien ships. The effect was immediate. One by one, the alien shields began to flicker and fail. It worked. The pulse had disrupted their energy fields, making them vulnerable. The Resistance couldn't believe their eyes. For the first time, the tables had truly turned. The alien ships, now exposed and vulnerable, were no longer the unstoppable force they once were. Human fighters, equipped with weapons designed using the very alien tech they had learned to reverse engineer, began to tear into the invaders. The sky was filled with explosions as the resistance fighters, once outmatched, now held the upper hand. But the Zarvok weren't about to go down without a fight. They quickly adapted, sending reinforcements from the depths of space. The battle intensified, and the world seemed to hold its breath as the resistance fought for every inch of ground. The human forces had finally turned the tables, but they knew the war was far from over. The Zarvok would be back, and they would strike harder than before. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity held its ground. The momentum had shifted, and for the first time, the aliens were on the defensive. The human resistance used their newly acquired alien technology to target the Zarvok's communication systems, cutting off their ability to coordinate and strategize. The fight was now a battle of wills, and humanity was determined to win. However, as the tide turned, another shocking discovery was made. Dr. Voss and her team found a hidden message buried deep within the alien communication network, a message that revealed a terrifying truth. The Zarvok were not acting alone. They were part of a larger network of intergalactic civilizations that had been monitoring humanity for centuries. Earth was not just a single experiment. It was a test to determine whether humans could be brought into this vast, ancient network or destroyed. The Zarvok were just the first wave, the initial phase in a much larger plan to either assimilate humanity or eliminate them entirely. This revelation hit hard. It was no longer just a battle for Earth's survival. It was a battle for humanity's place in the galaxy. The stakes had never been higher. The Resistance now knew that they were up against something far more dangerous than the Zarvok alone. A much larger, more powerful enemy was watching them, waiting to see how humanity would react. But despite the overwhelming odds, Dr. Voss and the Resistance were not afraid. They had survived the first phase of the alien assault, and they had proven one crucial fact. Humanity would not go down without a fight. The Zarvok had thought they had us. But now, with the tables turned, the real war for humanity's survival was about to begin. And this time, humanity would be ready. The Resistance, now emboldened by their victories and their growing technological advantages, was ready to face the true scale of the battle. The discovery that the Zarvok were just one faction of a vast intergalactic network of civilizations had shaken humanity to its core. Earth was no longer just the site of a local conflict. It had become the battleground for a much greater war, one that could decide the fate of the entire human race. The alien network, known as the Council of Galaxies, was a group of ancient civilizations spread across the universe. The Zarvok had been tasked with assessing humanity, testing whether they were worthy of joining this intergalactic alliance or if they would be destroyed. The message Dr. Voss and her team had uncovered revealed that the fate of Earth had already been decided long before the Zarvok even arrived. Earth was either going to be assimilated into the Council, or it would be wiped out. The humans had unknowingly passed the first test. The Zarvok's perfect trap had failed. Now humanity was about to face the full wrath of the Council. Despite the gravity of the situation, there was an unmistakable resolve among the human resistance. They had already faced the impossible and survived. Now they knew they had to push further to defeat not just the Zarvok, but the entire intergalactic empire that had been manipulating them for centuries. The Zarvok, realizing they had underestimated humanity's resilience, began to retreat into the shadows, preparing for the arrival of reinforcements. But the Resistance had no intention of waiting for the alien forces to regroup. They knew they had to act fast if they were to have any chance of survival. With the help of the technology they had hijacked from the Zarvuk, humanity began to develop new devastating weapons designed to penetrate the alien fleets. Dr. Voss, working with an international team of scientists, unveiled the most daring plan yet: a massive intercontinental energy weapon capable of striking at the heart of the Zarvuk's communication network. If successful, this weapon could sever the link between the Zarvuk and the Council of Galaxies, isolating the invaders and rendering them vulnerable. The problem, however, was that it required a massive energy source, one far greater than anything humanity had ever produced. But the stakes had never been higher. If they failed, Earth's fate would be sealed. If they succeeded, they could turn the tide of the entire war. With the pulse of hope racing through their veins, the Resistance built the weapon deep underground, hidden away from the watchful eyes of the Zarvuk. While this was happening, humanity also began to gather its forces. With each passing day, more and more nations joined the fight, putting aside their differences to unite against a common enemy. The war had become not just a battle for survival, but a struggle for the very soul of humanity. Every country, every city, every individual had something at stake now. The final piece of the plan was to launch a global offensive to distract the Zarvuk long enough for the weapon to be activated. The Resistance would strike at their most important military strongholds, knowing full well that their forces were limited and the odds were against them. But this was no longer about defeating the Zarvuk alone. It was about showing the Council that humanity would not be crushed so easily. On the day of the launch, the world's greatest cities became war zones. Alien ships hovered above major capitals, raining destruction on the streets below. The human Resistance launched airstrikes, ground assaults, and cyber attacks, hitting the Zarvuk at every point they could. It was chaos, destruction. But in the heart of the madness, the final piece of the Resistance's plan was being set into motion. As the weapons countdown began, Dr. Voss and her team worked tirelessly to ensure the energy would flow into the core of the weapon. But the Zarvuk were not so easily beaten. They detected the human activity and quickly realized what was happening. They launched a final, desperate assault on the underground facility where the weapon was housed, hoping to destroy it before it could be activated. Time was running out. Just as the Zarvuk forces reached the facility, the weapon fired. A massive burst of energy shot up into the sky, its target the very heart of the Zarvuk's communication network. The shockwave from the blast sent ripples through the alien fleet, destabilizing their command and control systems. The first wave of reinforcements, who had been preparing to invade Earth, suddenly found themselves cut off from their higher command. They were stranded in space, unable to communicate with the Council. Their ships faltered, and their forces fell into disarray. The Resistance had succeeded. They had isolated the Zarvuk. But victory was bittersweet. The battle was far from over. Although the Zarvuk's control over their fleet had been broken, the larger Council of Galaxies was still a formidable force, and humanity was now in the Council's crosshairs. With the loss of their first wave of reinforcements, the Council would be forced to take more drastic action. As Dr. Voss stood on the command deck, watching the chaos unfold, she knew that the war was far from over. The defeat of the Zarvuk had been a significant blow, but the Council's retribution would be swift and brutal. Humanity had earned a reprieve, but now the true test was beginning. Would humanity be able to withstand the full might of the Galactic Empire? The answer was clear. Humanity had already defied the odds once, and they would do it again. The Council may have underestimated them, but the fight for Earth's future was far from finished. Humanity had learned the greatest lesson of all. They could not be controlled. And now, armed with the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe, the fight for survival would move into its most dangerous and decisive chapter yet. The resistance was no longer just fighting for Earth. They were fighting for their place in the galaxy. And they would stop at nothing to ensure they would not be erased from history. Humanity's victory against the Zarvok had shaken the entire Council of Galaxies. The first battle, one in which the Resistance managed to sever the aliens' control and disrupt their fleet, had bought Earth a much-needed reprieve. But as Dr. Voss and the Resistance knew, this was only the beginning of a much darker and more dangerous conflict. With the loss of their first wave, the Council now understood that humanity was not a species to be underestimated. They would not be content to let Earth remain independent. The Council of Galaxies, an ancient and powerful collective of interstellar civilizations, had never faced an enemy quite like humanity before. Earth was nothing more than a test, a judgment day for a young species that had, against all odds, shattered their expectations. The Council had planned for the Zarvok to succeed in their mission, to either assimilate humanity or destroy them. But instead, humanity had turned the tables, surviving the trap, and even defeating their most advanced alien force. With their plans thrown into disarray, the Council mobilized. Their response was swift and brutal. Reinforcements were on their way, and the Council's fleets, vast, heavily armed, and relentless, would soon be at Earth's doorstep. The message was clear. Earth's independence was a temporary anomaly, and the Council would stop at nothing to ensure that it didn't spread. They would wipe out humanity if it meant maintaining their control over the galaxy. Dr. Voss, now aware that Earth had become a flashpoint in a much larger galactic war, worked with her team to prepare for what was coming. They knew the weapons they had developed from Zarvok technology had given them an advantage, but it was a fragile one. The Council had far superior resources and far more advanced weaponry. Humanity's greatest strength, however, lay in their unpredictability, the same human qualities the Zarvok had miscalculated. The Resistance had no choice but to fight back, using every advantage they could find, even if it meant taking the fight beyond Earth itself. With time running out, Dr. Voss led an initiative to develop a series of stealth warships. Modified to hide from the advanced detection systems the Council had at their disposal. These ships were equipped with alien energy shields, advanced weaponry, and cloaking devices. They would be the key to striking at the heart of the Council's forces. The goal was not just to survive, it was to push back the tide of alien dominance and show the galaxy that Earth was not a planet to be ruled. Meanwhile, the human population, which had once lived in fear, began to rally behind the Resistance. Ordinary people, once unsure of how they could help, now volunteered in droves to take up arms, create new technologies, and defend their planet. What had once been a global resistance force made up of isolated groups now became an organized and highly disciplined military. Nations had long since set aside their differences, recognizing that their survival depended on their unity. The first counterstrike against the Council's fleet came sooner than expected. The Council's reinforcements arrived in orbit, massive battleships filled with soldiers, drones, and energy weapons capable of obliterating entire cities with a single blast. But humanity had prepared. The human warships, led by the stealth ships, ambushed the incoming fleet at the edge of Earth's orbit, catching the alien forces off guard. The battle that followed was nothing short of epic. For the first time, humanity's stealth technology proved its worth. Using cloaking fields and the very same energy pulses that had disrupted the Zarvok, the Resistance was able to take down some of the Council's ships. The first major victory was stunning, but the Council wasn't deterred. In retaliation, they unleashed their full arsenal, massive fleets of warships, with weapons far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. The battle shifted from space to Earth's atmosphere, where the skies filled with alien craft and the ground trembled with the force of each strike. But Dr. Voss and the Resistance had one final weapon, an ace they had been saving for just this moment. A signal jammer designed to block the Council's ability to communicate across the galaxy. The plan was risky. By cutting off the Council's ability to coordinate between their different fleets, the Resistance could create confusion, breaking their unity and making them vulnerable. If successful, it would buy humanity the precious time they needed to launch a final assault on the Council's command center, their homeworld, a distant planet at the core of the galactic network. With a team of the best hackers and engineers, the Resistance deployed the jammer, a colossal device hidden deep within one of Earth's most remote military bases. When it activated, the entire Council fleet went silent. Ships faltered, communication lines dropped, and alien commanders were left scrambling, unable to give orders. The Resistance immediately launched an all-out assault, taking advantage of the Council's disarray. Humanity's fighters, now equipped with the stolen technology from the Zarvok and enhanced by their own innovation, dove into the fray with a vengeance. The skies erupted in an explosion of light as human and alien forces collided. It was then that humanity made its most daring move. They attacked the heart of the Council's command center. Using the alien warships as cover, a small group of Resistance fighters, led by Dr. Voss herself, embarked on a mission to infiltrate the Council's flagship. The ship, the Aegis Prime, was a fortress of unimaginable power, the nerve center of the Council's operations. If they could destroy it, the entire galactic network would collapse, and humanity would secure its future. As the Resistance fighters infiltrated the ship's core, they faced overwhelming odds. Alien soldiers, powerful drones, and automated defenses swarmed the corridors, determined to stop them. But humanity's resolve was stronger. They fought tooth and nail, overcoming each obstacle and advancing toward the central control room. In the heart of the Aegis Prime, Dr. Voss faced the ultimate choice: activate the self-destruct mechanism to destroy the ship and its entire command structure, or try to negotiate with the Council. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, she made the choice to sacrifice everything. She activated the self-destruct, setting off a chain reaction that would obliterate the Aegis Prime, and with it, the Council's hold over the galaxy. As the massive ship disintegrated in a blinding explosion, the shockwave sent ripples through the entire Council network. Communication lines went dead, and their fleets faltered. The Resistance had succeeded. Humanity had defeated the Council of Galaxies. In the aftermath of the battle, as the debris from the Aegis Prime rained down on the far reaches of space, humanity stood victorious. Earth was free, no longer a pawn in the grand scheme of the universe. The Council, broken and defeated, would never again attempt to control Earth. But as Dr. Voss looked toward the stars, she knew that this victory was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. They had proven that they could face any enemy, no matter how powerful, and survive. And now, with their place in the galaxy secured, the question was not just about survival, but about how humanity would shape the future of the stars.